Hello, and welcome to another video in the Blade series. So the saying goes, in this world, nothing can be said to be certain except death and taxes. Well, Scott, I'm going to amend that to say, and AI will creep its way into every part of your daily lives.
That is today's bugaboo. That's correct.
So today, we're going to talk a little about how AI is going to impact tax prep and filing, along with the do's and don'ts of giving the AI that tax information. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Scott, first question. Can AI fully prepare and file my taxes all on its own?
All on its own. Well, theoretically, yes, but no is the answer. It's technically possible it could happen, but really, right at this point in time, I know I've been seeing a lot of ads online, a lot of stuff on the web about, hey, have us do AI. We have AI now that does your taxes, and it makes it faster. It's like, okay, you have to remember we're the very beginning days of AI being anything, and with people are going to sell you a service that's going to file your taxes by AI. Well, hey, it may work if you're a single person filing the easy form and that sort of thing. Sure, I could probably teach, my cat how to fill out one of those. They're not complicated. So maybe it will work. I know I saw TurboTax, or one of the big companies, was offering free tax preparation via AI for certain people, and the small print said 37% of the people.
I saw that commercial.
Will actually qualify for this plan. So it's like, hey, if you're looking for someone and you have a pretty simple tax preparation job, hey, I'd check it out. Hey, I'd take anything for free. But then again, we're talking about, can AI fully prepare it? So the answer is no, it can't do it on its own. Even these companies that say, hey, we use AI-assisted preparation. And what that does basically is do things like take your forms, scan them, take the numbers out of the certain boxes, put them in the certain boxes on, that kind of stuff. And in the end, a human being actually looks it over, hopefully a CPA type person, actually looks it over and says, okay, this is good, let's file this to the government. So to answer your question, no, it can't do it on its own yet.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, in that case, how can the AI help me start my tax return?
And that's, AI can really help you get get all your documents together. Okay. If you're reasonably organized, because it can help you, make spreadsheets and find files and organize things and that kind of stuff and get yourself ready. I know every year I use a fine CPA for all my work, and he basically gives me a workbook that I have to fill out and put in the inserts and give it back to him every year. Well, that's becoming more electronic, and I'm sure that AI at some point will enter into that process of looking over this workbook to simplify the job for the CPA so they can, bill you less or make more. Whichever way you
I was about to say, same amount of money, they do less work.
Look at it that way. But really, why not? I mean, automation and technology has always done that. Remember, it's not like we still go to the gas stations, the guy's got to crank a pump.
Oh, but that's so much fun, filling the little thing. And
that's a lot of work cranking that pump. Now all you do is squeeze that. See, that's why they, obviously profit margins, they make more money, so on and so forth. So, that's the thing. Always talk to a tax professional if you're not sure, and don't just file it in straight through AI. And there's some other things we're going to talk about here in a second.
Cool. So I guess now that we know it can't do it all by itself, and all it's really helping me do is gather the information. What's the best role for the AI when doing your tax?
Sure. I think the best role is it works as a support tool. It helps you organize the information, as we mentioned, helps you look up tax concepts. Maybe there are some strange deductions you qualify for, but you wouldn't know. And maybe AI can ferret those out for you.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah, those kind of things. Okay, it can also help you go through a scenario. That's one thing great about AI. It likes to talk about scenarios. So you can give it a scenario and it can say, okay, what if I do this, this, and this? What will be the end result? And it will say, okay, this is what will happen. The IRS come knocking on your door, all this, or whatever the answers that AI gives. So really, look at AI as just kind of like I wouldn't say it's like your consultant when it comes to taxes. It's kind of like your administrative assistant.
Okay.
It helps you keep yourself organized together, do a little research, answer some questions.
Okay. So I guess we all know AI can be a little sketchy sometimes.
A little.
Is it good at explaining the tax rules and stuff?
Well, one thing about tax rules is that they are written in stone.
Yes.
AI reads those, obviously, when it gets trained. They're on the internet. They're in stone. So generally, it won't make a mistake saying, this tax rule says da 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 when it says something different in the writing. Where it gets hallucinating when it starts answering weird things is when it actually has to think for itself some. And it doesn't have a reference like the tax code that can go back to and say, okay, 4BA says blah 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 blah, right? But when it has to think, it's like, what color tie should I wear today with this suit?
Yeah, it's like, green.
It could hallucinate and say, paisley or something crazy. But that's basically how it does it. AI is pretty good at explaining hard factual info. Right. So you can trust it there when you're asking questions about tax. But once again, always check with your tax professional.
I like how that's become our tagline. It's like, don't leave home without it. So I guess let's say that I've attempted to do my own taxes, right? Can the AI find mistakes I've made or missing information?
Yeah, it definitely could find things like arithmetic errors. When you have to add things up, it could check that and check your math.
Okay.
And I don't know about you, and I think you're about the same way as me. Math is not my strong suit, especially not arithmetic. I can do calculus fine, but arithmetic, not so good.
Basic stuff.
Exactly. So I always like to have somebody check my math. So that's really where I would use AI in this case and look and say, hey, you're missing something in box 12. That kind of information to say, hey, here's what you're missing in your preparation. Again, kind of more like an administrative assistant role, saying, hey, you forgot this, boss, right here. Once you check this box.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going back to the AI doesn't think on its own very well, but it's really good at reviewing information it already knows.
It really is, yeah. Whenever it can go back to facts on whatever it was trained on, it's usually really good. It's not generally doesn't hallucinate about facts. It's when you start asking, projections and what do you think about,
that was my next question was, so what happens if it hallucinates in the tax world?
Well, this is probably one of the reasons today you don't see somebody online that says, okay, for a quarter, we'll do your taxes all 100% AI and move on, right? Yeah. So that's one of the reasons, because it's not quite there yet. It has hallucinations and all different contexts as we've seen it. Some are pretty funny. Some can be pretty dangerous. This is one of the reasons we're still, it's still learning. It's becoming iterative. New versions are coming out all the time that reduce these number of hallucinations. But if you get one, if your AI is working with you on your taxes and the preparation of it before you give it to your tax preparer, and it starts saying stuff like, oh yeah, you made $3 million last year. That's when, okay, that maybe it's hallucinating somehow. It doesn't understand the data. So that's why you as a human being still have to oversee this and make sure. So, make sure it doesn't, other things we've seen it do in test environments is inventing deductions. Something totally off the wall. We've seen that kind of hallucination happen before.
I have a teddy bear. I qualify for a 10% deduction.
Well, if you think about it, it looks at the tax code. In tax code, it's fact. And if it doesn't talk about the the deduction for buying movie posters, it's not going to know about it. So it's going to think it's true, maybe. It's going to hallucinate because it's not in the facts.
Right.
But it doesn't say it doesn't say the facts.
Say it's not.
It's not. Right? And that's where you can have these strange things happen. So, you really got to watch out. And let's say you decide to really throw caution to the wind, have AI do as much as you can. You file it yourself, IRS, and then it has a bunch of mistakes, all these deductions that don't exist, and wrong rules are being used. So
but I got $8,000 back, Scott.
So who's in trouble?
Oh, I guess it's me.
It is you. The AI is not in trouble at all. You can't prosecute an AI. The AI is not. Your tax preparer is not in trouble. I mean, it is you. The one who wrote the signature on the tax form is responsible for the content within.
Right, because you authorized it.
You're the one. You're signing your name on the dotted line. So that's why you really have to make sure that if you do use AI to help, that you monitor it.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So, wow, that kicks us into So what are the biggest risks of using AI in my taxes beyond it doing all the wrong things?
Well, the first thing is, of course, it could provide incorrect information.
Yeah.
It could screw up something like line 1 of your W-2. Instead of you making $50,000 a year, it puts in $500,000 a year.
It pulls an office space and moves the decimal.
Yeah, the decimal moves. And something like, which could happen. I mean, machines make errors just like humans. So that's something where you could, if you submitted that with that incorrect information, somebody at the IRS would catch it, and they'd come back and give you a talking to. That sort of thing. So AI can produce all kinds of answers. Like this, the deduction for movie posters. It can make a really good case on why you should do it. It's very convincing.
Yeah.
AI is great at that kind of thing.
It's the guy that's good at lying.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. One of the first things that AI has really learned how to do well is to lie to humans.
Yeah.
It's just, that's what it's learned. So it's really good about convincing you stuff. So just be careful because, taxes, it's not like, we're applying for a newspaper subscription or something, right? I mean, this is big stuff. You can go to jail. Ask Al Capone, right? All these people that went to jail over taxes. So you have to make sure they're right, and you have to produce confident sounding answers, in your forms and so on. IRS will not generally give you direct advice, but you can certainly ask questions. If you're really interested in this, I doubt that you'll get a good answer, but it's worth asking. So, and then it really becomes high risk when you've got a tax form that's this thick, and you're having AI go through it all. And that just gives us more opportunities to make mistakes. It's probably going to see data that it's really not seen before in the world. Like it's seen 1040s and 1040ECs and all, but has it seen the Schedule 812, or something? That's where you could have problems. So I would say, I would just keep your AIs out of the complex taxes. And if you have a very simple tax form, consider it to help you be the administrative assistant that keeps all your documentation together.
So it's back to use it as an assistant.
As an assistant. And yet, eventually, it will get to the point where it will do all this. It will. But we're not there,
we're not there yet.
Yeah.
So I guess we've talked about this a couple of times, but give us the details behind it misunderstanding the tax laws. So.
Well, what could happen is, and this does happen, is let's say the state of Missouri puts up the state tax laws, and let's say they post it where they post all the other actions of the government, and let's say they leave up last year's tax laws too. This is reference. People want to see reference. That can confuse an AI. They're seeing two copies of the same thing. It may not understand that this one was revised in this date and that. That just may matter to them.
To us, it would make sense because it would be 1 year off. But to it, it's like,
well, it's okay. Which one's right? Which one's right? And so, these tax laws, not only complex, but they do change a lot. And the state ones change a whole lot.
Yeah.
In some states like Missouri, we're pretty lucky. It's pretty straightforward. Other states like Illinois, it's a little more complex. So it's by state. So you have your AI, just like your tax professional, has to understand the implications of all 50 states and our various territories and so on.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that's good. So, here's a good one.
Yeah.
So, are there privacy risks with using AI for taxes?
Biggest risk of all is privacy. Because, what's happening when you do something with AI? You ask it a simple question. How much of that takes place on your laptop right in front of you, and how much of that takes place up in the cloud? Well, it takes place up in the cloud. So if you give it a bunch of your personal information, you're turning this data loose on the cloud, with who's protecting it, the AI. If you read the fine print of all the AI vendors, they say, we're not responsible for you putting your personal data up.
Not it.
Yeah, so that's a big one. You're taking a risk. It's going out there. Where does it go? Nobody knows.
Wow. So it's just like anything else. I always tell, we were talking about this, I was teaching the kids at my church AI safety on Wednesday, and we were talking about anything you give the AI, it takes and it doesn't care.
That's right, and it'll use it to train itself and its brethren, forever to the end of time.
Yeah, and you ain't getting it back.
No, it's gone. It's just like any data, really, that gets away from you and gets on the internet per se.
Yeah.
It's gone.
There ain't no going back.
No, it's gone.
So, well, this is a self-answering question based on everything we've just had. Is AI considered compliant tax software?
No, is the answer. I know I don't want to shock you there, but no.
What?
No, it's not compliant. IRS doesn't, I don't know if they've actually made a statement on it or not.
Well, we're going to make it.
We're going to make it. Don't do it. And if you even ask your tax preparers and the big companies like the H&R Blocks and so on, they're going to say the same thing. They're not going to lie to you and say, oh yeah, this AI compliant here is, or this AI that we use is compliant. So says the IRS and da-da-da. Well, that's a lie. That's not the kind of thing. So AI tools are not designed to ensure regulatory compliance. That's not what they do. Yeah. They seek information, find information, concatenate information, and that sort of thing. It's not there to tell you if something's regulatory compliant or not. And you really can't treat it as a system of record. So, okay, a system of record, where do you upload your official documents?
Yep.
They have to go to a certain place, general. So sometimes it's the government, and even in our company, we have official repositories where certain types of data go, and these sort of things. But AI doesn't do that. Not to say that it can't sometime in the future, but right now it's really not designed to be an AI-assisted tax preparation software.
Right.
It's something much more generalized than that. That's where we talk about like generalized AI. It's something generalized. Something can do a lot of things. Maybe not perfect, but can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Eventually, there'll be some sort of special version of AI that's specialized in tax prep.
Yeah.
And that's all it does, and that's all it knows, and it does it 100 or 99.99999% correct.
And the link to it's going to be bob.ai.gov. That's because it's going to be the CPA version of AI.
Yeah, the CPA folks out there, they've got a lot to combat with the uprising of AI, just because one thing AI does really good is numbers.
Yeah, repetitive numbers.
And just like what CPAs do. Now, in my personal opinion, I mean, we're years and years away from that because, I use a CPA. I trust him. He gives me great advice. He's there when I need him. And it's not like I'm just feeding, information into the void and hoping for the best,
Which is what you do with an AI.
Yeah, maybe I'm old-fashioned. I still like
toss it at the wall and hope.
Yeah, and just hope. And, know that you'll never see it again and then throw it into the wind.
All right, so we've gone through all the horrible things AI can do to our taxes and for our taxes. How can AI be used safely in the tax realm?
Well, when we're working in education, trying to explain concepts and prepare questions with like fake IRS data. Maybe you're teaching a class. I know you teach some classes to your kids at the church. Maybe somebody's teaching. I taught a class several years ago for economically disadvantaged people. I did it for several years in a row on how to file your taxes.
Yep.
Okay, here's what this means. This box goes in here, that kind of stuff. And it's all done with an overhead.
Yeah.
At the time, it was a
clear paper.
Long time ago. But now you can use AI and actually do like an online class with AI and students coming in via Teams or Zoom or something and have some fake IRS data that you can prepare. Shouldn't be that hard. In fact, I bet you AI could probably prepare you a fake data set.
It'll do that real good.
Yeah, it probably did, because it's probably got something out there it can use as model.
All we'd have to say is pretend you're trying to fake the AI.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it'll ignore all of its safety features.
Right. So then you have the kind of a test bed for you to do training on taxes, not only taxes but on AI too.
Yeah.
On how does AI integrate with this kind of stuff? This is kind of like probably high school level computer science stuff, where they could see how these two very important things fit together and how they're going to merge very soon in the future.
Yeah. What does the divergent and convergent evolution look like?
Yeah, it's truly right.
So, is the IRS using the AI now? Is it trying to get me?
Well, one thing you have to think about. The IRS won't get your tax information until you have already given it to them.
Right.
So there's no AI in between, right? So, but when the data is up there at the IRS, they do claim yes, it's now relying on AI to help narrow what they call the tax gap between what Americans owe and what each person pays. So what they're trying to find out is who's not paying. Okay, makes sense.
Where's my money?
Exactly. It makes sense. I mean, the number of IRS actual auditors and people has went way down in this current administration. And they're trying to plug the gap using AI by saying, okay, this John Allen person paid $20,000 in taxes, $20,000 in taxes, zero. $20,000 in taxes, that's the kind of patterns they'd be looking for.
Yeah.
Because people generally don't go from here to here and then right back up.
There's a differential in it, isn't that?
Yeah, there's something going on. Yeah, and that's where they get a human being to do the investigation.
All right. So they're putting, Bob the AI on hunting me. Great. So all right. So in summary, AI tax preparation tends to work best if the return is low to moderate complexity.
Absolutely.
And you've got clean records. So you didn't goof something up on your taxes last year or whatever.
Right. And probably, again, more simple. So you don't have like 15 W-2s or something. Something like that.
Complex.
A couple, okay, fine. But once you get more complex than that, then your chances of having a good experience with AI, helping out your taxes, falls off.
All right. Today's AIs fall short when your taxes, well, like we said, when they're complex. I could see it being a problem for business ownership, multi-state filings, foreign income. Well, that's a new one.
Yeah.
How do I hide my stuff from
Yeah.
foreign countries? And other situations that may require, judgment calls.
Yeah,
So
it's that kind of stuff. It's also things like making money off of crypto overseas and that kind of thing. They want to, because you owe taxes on, and nobody pays it because they know the chances of getting caught is slim to none. And so this is something IRS is trying to do to get some of that money back, get it back into the Treasury, so we can actually use it for something good.
Yeah, and then as always with anything AI, consider the privacy and data security issues. So if you're going to give it the information, like we've said, it's gone.
Yeah,
it's going to take it. So, Scott, as always, thank you for your insight and your expertise.
Interesting topic, very timely.
Yeah, but we completely by accident, nonetheless.
Yeah.
So, thanks to all of you for watching. If you find this video informative and enjoy the content, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this subject. This is Jon and Scott from Blade. Take it easy.